Guruji.
Om Vakrathunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmete Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinem Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandhadami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sankabadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastitadadgatena Manasam Pashyanti Yam Yoginah Yasyantanna Vidhussura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste Guruji. Pranam.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Shanai Shanai Uparamet Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya Atma Samstam Manakritva Nakinchit Apichintayet. So in this sixth chapter of the Gita, Lord Krishna is elaborately discussing the topic of Nididhyasana, otherwise known as Vedantic meditation. And we should remember that Nididhyasanam is relevant and will be meaningful only after the study of Vedanta, which is called Shravanam and Mananam. First of all, the actual self-knowledge has to take place at the time of Shravanam. And the systematic, consistent study alone has to produce the knowledge in the mind. So that is the Shravanam stage. And then during the Shravanam also, lots of doubts may arise in the mind. So that has to be followed by Mananam, which is the purpose of which is to remove any trace of doubt with regard to the teaching. Any trace of doubt with regard to the fundamental aspects of Vedanta. What is the most fundamental statement Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Brahman is the substratum of the world, the Adhishthanam of the world. The entire world is dependent on Brahman. And that Brahman, the substratum, is none other than me. All these three things should be understood very well. So with regard to these fundamental teachings of Vedanta, I should not have any trace of doubt. And the removal of doubt is possible only through the method of reasoning, because doubt, where it sits in the intellect. And intellect knows only the language of reasoning. We cannot accept whatever Vedanta or Upanishad say based on faith. Because Upanishad say, I have to believe it. That is the biggest difference between our culture, religion, and other religions. So the Shravanam and Mananam should do the job of producing the knowledge. Nishamshaya Jnanam, conviction regarding Vedantic teaching, has to take place only through Shravanam and Mananam. And it is only after the doubtless knowledge of the self has been gained should one come to Nididhyasana. And as we were seeing, this process of Nididhyasanam is also not an easy process. Before we get into actual meditation, we have to cross many hurdles. The very first one thing being, which many of us who have tried to practice meditation would have experienced, is dealing with the continuous flow of all and sundry thoughts in the mind. Close your eyes with the sankalpa, I am going to do meditation. Other than the thought about meditation, everything else will flood your mind. And even suppose we are able to actually regulate those thoughts in the mind, make the mind relatively free from those active thoughts, then second in the queue is the worries, anxieties, regrets, guilt, fears. All of them are waiting to surface. These have been collected over the years and they are buried deeply in the subconscious mind. And they are waiting for their turn. Let the mind become free and let space be available in the mind for us to occupy it, occupy the thought process. And there is no point in suppressing them because they are hard-coded in the subconscious. They will surface sometime or the other. So the earlier one deals with it, the better. Therefore, after clearing the active thoughts, we have to take up the issues in the subconscious one by one and deal with them. Only when those issues are addressed will our mind be ready for meditation. And all these processes, preparing the mind, dealing with these subconscious issues, etc., could be time consuming and very frustrating. Every day, religiously, you sit for meditation, but you discover that you are not able to meditate at all. And no one can predict how long it will take for the mind to become fully ready for meditation. And therefore, in these slokas, Krishna is giving us some practical tips as to how to go about it. He says, first turn the mind away from the worldly thoughts, external world, family members, other environmental conditions. First turn your mind away from that. Once you have achieved that, bring the mind to your body, physical body. look at one after the other the problems of the physical body and deal with them. And then turn your mind away from the problems or issues of the physical body also, at least for 20 to 30 minutes, which is the duration of meditation. And most importantly, he says, keep your mind free from the thoughts of future. Because most of the time, if you find, our mind is occupied with thoughts relating to the future plans. Future plans for me, future plans for my children, future plans for my grandchildren. This is what mind is always looking at, engaged in. So turn the mind away from all those, both regarding the past and the future. Then in the 25th shloka, he warned, don't rush into the process. This process of preparing the mind for meditation, as I said, could be a time-consuming process. And therefore, one should withdraw the mind gradually by using the intellect, which is endowed with the willpower. So the willpower, the free will Bhagavan has given us has to be employed here. And once the mind is ready for meditation, make the mind abide in the Atma. And one should not think of anything else. Therefore, the withdrawal must be done gradually, because one cannot suddenly go to Atma, because Atma is of the subtlest nature. Mind is used to think about all tangible, gross things only. So the mind cannot suddenly turn away from the grossest world to the subtlest Atma. And therefore he says, Atma samstam manakritva. Once the mind has come to Atma, let the mind dwell on the Atma by seeing the different features of Atma. The features we have already discussed before. I don't want to repeat them. In fact, for 1 hour when you listen to the class, your mind is dealing with Atma Swarupam only. And therefore, actually, your listening itself with concentration is a form of meditation. You should not think that, oh, you have to keep the body straight, then alone it is meditation. That you have to close your eyes and then alone it is meditation. Of course, when you are alone, you can practice all those things because they are all aids to successful meditation. They help. But if you have for 1 hour attentively listened to the class and you have not let your mind wander away, what you are doing is meditation only. Shravanam is a form of meditation only. And what is meditation? What is Nididhyasanam? Is reliving, replaying the Shravanam only. So this is all the tips that Krishna is giving. And he continues. Yato yato nischarate manaschanchalamastiram tatastato niyam yaitad atmanyeva vasham nayet. Nayet. And why I am giving Nayet etat chanchalam astiram manaha vasham atmani eva niyamya tatah tatah yatah yatah nischarati. Nayet etat, one should bring back chanchalam, this fickle, astiram manaha, unsteady mind, vasham atmani eva, under the control of oneself, niyamya, by restraining, tataha tataha, from those objects, yataha yataha, due to which nischarati, the mind goes out. So what is he advising here? It's all small tips he gives. Okay, you said Atma Samstam Manakritva. I have tried to do that. Now still thoughts are flooding my mind. What should I do? So Krishna makes one statement here very clearly. Later on, he will confirm this to Arjuna also. First of all, understand the nature of the mind. The nature of the mind is fickle and it is unsteady. But it is not unruly. Must understand the difference. The mind can be ruled. It is just like children, They will do so many things. But you can discipline them. You can direct their energies in the right direction. So here he says one should bring back this fickle, unsteady mind under the control of oneself by restraining from those objects due to which the mind goes out. And that's why we say, while studying the scriptures, when the teacher is talking about Atma Swarupam, the nature of the self, if the student is going along with the teacher, and the student also entertains the same thought as the teacher, and when the teacher says, Tattvamasi, you are consciousness, what should the student think? The student should not say, you are consciousness. You should not tell the teacher, you are consciousness. The student should convert the second person in the first person and say, I am consciousness. So the student also understands the significance of the teaching. I am a conscious being. And the teacher is revealing this fact that as the conscious being, I am ever free. And if the student follows that, remember the very Shravanam becomes meditation. As I said, all other things, like keeping the body straight, sit in comfortable asanam, close your eyes, half close your eyes, etc. They are all supportive systems, but not compulsory when it comes to Vedantic meditation. What makes the meditation as nididhyasana is the atmakara vritti. Therefore, Shravanam itself is dhyanam. If it is an active Shravanam in which the student closely follows the teaching and assimilates it while listening to the teacher. And that's why, one of the great Acharyas, Sureshwara Acharya, a direct disciple of Shankaracharya, says, even if one does not separately sit in meditation, repeated Shravanam, repeated listening to the teaching is itself a form of meditation only. So all this samakaya, shirogrivam, all those things, they're all incidentals. Niridhyasana means the mind dwelling upon the teaching consistently. And here in this sloka, Krishna says, when the mind is dwelling on the teaching, distractions are bound to come. As I said, Arjuna himself will complain later in this chapter. He will say, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavad dhridam Tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. He says, my mind is ati chanchalam Krishna, and I don't think I will be able to restrain the mind. And Krishna says, do not feel bad, Arjuna, because you are not alone. If your mind is restless, everybody else's mind is also restless. That itself is some big samadhanam, isn't it? Some big consolation. Everybody is in the same boat, then I am okay. Everybody has the same problem. And that's why, we would have observed, suppose there is the light fan, electricity goes away in our house. Immediately we'll be concerned, oh, something has gone, some fuse has blown or something. Then we'll come out of the house and look at every other house. If nobody has got electricity, that's a big consolation to us. Oh, okay, everybody is suffering the same thing. I am not alone. You know that the amount of comfort that gives, that everybody is suffering. It's a very big, it's a psychological thing. So Krishna says, don't worry, Arjuna, this is nothing new you are telling, as if you only are suffering. Everybody has the same issue. It's a universal problem. And that is why I have included this in the Gita itself, in the 6th chapter. Of course, he doesn't say that, those are my words. But that's the reason Krishna incorporates. Because Gita is meant for what? Guiding us. Guiding us means first understand our problem and then tell us what is the solution. Later on, Krishna will give a solution to that also for Arjuna's question. That we will see when we come to that shloka, 34th shloka. So here Krishna says, Chanchalam astiram manaha nischarati. The fickle, restless, extrovert mind will go out. Nischarati means like a child, it will run away. When the mother keeps the child on her lap, it will get up like a spring and run. So, chanchalam astiram manaha, the restless, fickle, volatile mind, nischarati, it goes out. Yataha, because of various sense objects distracting the mind. One sense object or the other is constantly distracting the mind. Isn't it? Bhagawad has given 5 sense organs. And they take turns. Suppose your eyes are closed. You say, I am, and it's a silent. There is no sound coming. So, now my mind should not go out because there is nothing to distract. And suddenly what happens? A beautiful, waft of this fragrance comes. Where somebody has lit one agarbatti, your mind immediately, knows, has actually sensed that smell, that fragrance. Immediately mind goes to that. What fragrance is this? Is this mogra, or is it a rose, or it is chandan? Mind will start analyzing all that. So the distraction is not from one source. Distraction could be from any one of the 5 sources. You are sitting in meditation. Everything, there is no agarbatti, there is no sound, there is no, your eyes are closed, so nothing to distract. Suddenly what happens? You feel some movement near your leg, skin. Immediately your mind distracts. Oh, is it some insect or something which is there? It might bite me. Especially in rainy season and all, if you sit on meditation, a possibility of so many things coming and trying to take shelter under your legs will be there. So that is another distraction. Mind will immediately go. I can give you so many examples. I mean, for example, suppose it's all soundproof, but suddenly you hear a horn of a car. Immediately you will remember, oh my God, I've been thinking of giving my car for servicing. So your thought will go, oh, tomorrow I should certainly go and do it because already it is some knocking sound is coming from the engine. I have to get it serviced. But the problem is if I leave it in the service station, they may take 3-4 days. I've got only one car. What will I do to go to office and come back? All these kind of thoughts, one thought of servicing the car can lead to so many other thoughts. Therefore, you got a thought that, the car is old, maybe I should replace it, sell it and buy a new car. Then when the new car comes, whether I should go for, Maruti or Indica, I mean, so many things, and all along you are supposed to be doing Atma Dhyana. And you may end up in car Dhyana. So Krishna says all these things are natural. That is the nature of the mind. You need not feel guilty. You need not feel disturbed. Therefore, yataha yataha means because of any external factor, mind will stray away. And external factor need not be inanimate. It can be a person also. Suddenly you remember your husband, wife, father, mother, children, anyone living or non-living. Maybe your parents have passed away. Your pet dog. All these things will come. Because there is enough space in the mind. You have created the space. For some people, these pets, they are so loud more than the family members. In fact, one of the trend which I am seeing amongst the youngsters is they get married and they don't want to have children. Instead, they prefer to get a dog or some cat or something like that, and they want that will give emotional support, they say. I mean, where the world is going, only Bhagavan knows. Bhagavan will know because it is Kali Yuga, so he will know. But there is a story of Jadabarada in Bhagavatam. This Jadabarada gets distracted by a deer. Can you imagine? And he had so much determination that he gave up his kingdom. He gave up his entire family for the sake of one deer, which became very dear to him. And then he started bringing up the deer, and all the time he was thinking of the deer only. It's beautifully described in Bhagavatam. So wherever he goes, he thinks of the deer only. Even during the time of his death, he's thinking of the deer also. The deer dhyanam. And in the next janma, he is actually born as a deer. That is the power of meditation. Where Shastra says, you become that on which you meditate. That is the secret between Atma Dhyana. So that is the power of meditation. Therefore, when the mind is distracted, what should one do? Tataha niyamya. Withdraw the mind from those respective objects by telling yourself, what? They don't belong to me. For me to get obsessed with them. Because if you observe, our obsession with people or objects is always because of an assumed ownership. We are not obsessed about the family members of our neighbor, but we are obsessed about our family members. Why? Because there is a sense of ownership. They belong to me. This ahankara and mamakara is the reason for all these things. Because I own. And therefore, you must tell yourself, I never own anything. Even though for worldly purposes, you may, within inverted comma, own a house or a car, but let that ownership be a functional ownership. In the innermost heart, let it be remembered, nothing belongs to me. Everything that I have got, I am blessed with, is a temporary gift from the Lord. Lord has blessed me with certain things, and using those things, I have to grow spiritually. I should not get stuck. I should not, even when I go to an ashram, I should not fall in love with a particular ashram and permanently remain there. I should not love the teacher. I can love the teacher, love the ashram, but not get attached. Once the learning is over, leave the ashram and the teacher. Because if you, by continuous association with the teacher and the ashram on a day-to-day basis, there is a serious risk of attachment growing. And that attachment will create another samsara, which is what you have been trying to escape from. And secondly, it is important for you to leave also because other students are waiting to come and learn. And that's why Puja Swamiji used to insist. Not one more day you should stay in the ashram after the course is finished. Leave the ashram. Go anywhere you want. Do whatever you want. Your last day in the ashram is the day after the course finishes. Of course, travel issues are there. 1 or 2 days extra you want permission, that is given. You have to arrange, take your books, everything. You have to transport them to wherever you are going after the course is over. And therefore, all the time remember that ownership is the cause for obsession. Obsession is the cause for distraction. And distraction is a big obstacle in meditation. Therefore, he says, tataha tataha niyamya. You can tell yourself, oh God, everything is yours. As there is a bhajan in Hindi, people sing, tan, man, dhan, sab kuch tera. Of course, they all sing, it's a merely lip service. The moment the bhajan is over, they will all be rushing, ye mera, this is mine, this is mine. So it should not be mere lip service, it should come from the innermost heart. Oh Lord, everything is yours, which includes my own physical body, my spouse, my children, all my possessions. You have blessed me with all this for my growth. They all belong to you. I don't own anything, and I don't want to own also. Even my own mind, I don't want to own. So niyamya. Then what you should do? Atmani eva vasham nayed. Bring the mind back to the Atma. Akhandakara vritti abhyasam kuru. So Atmani vasham nayed. Bring the mind to the field of Atma. Atma and the nature of Atma. By doing all this, what will one get? Krishna articulates in the next sloka. We will read. Prashantamanasam yenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutaka brahmabhutamakalmasham. The Anvaya is Uttamam Sukham Upaiti Hi Enam Yoginam Akalmasham Shantarajasam Prashanta Manasam Brahma Bhutam. Bhavati, you can add. Uttamam Sukham, Supreme Ananda, Upaiti comes. He enam yoginam, indeed to this yogi, Akalmasham, who is free from impurities, Shantarajasam, whose agitations have subsided, Prashanta Manasam, whose mind is totally tranquil, and Brahma Bhutam, who has become Brahman. So Supreme Ananda comes to this yogi who is free from impurities, whose agitations have subsided, whose mind is totally tranquil, and who has become Brahman. So here Krishna discusses, he has already told you have to do meditation, how it is to be done, given all tips. Now he says, what will be the result of this practice? So, dhyana phalam, he talks about in these verses. Result of meditation. Prashanta manasam hi enam yoginam uttamam sukham upaiti. He says, the benefit of this meditation is the highest peace will come to that person. Uttamam sukham means greatest peace, the superior most peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace which is not determined by external conditions. Because any other type of peace that I enjoy is because I add something to gain peace. So as long as I keep adding, that peace becomes a conditional peace. As long as certain conditions are satisfied, I am at peace. So that is conditional peace. And conditional peace is not real peace. Anything conditional is not real. They will last only till the added conditions exist. And this is one Vedantic lesson that we should all remember, always remember. Anything conditional is fake. If you say, I am secure because there is money, Vedanta calls it conditional security. Because it is because of money, within inverted commas. There's a condition. That means what? If I don't have money, I will not have security. And this conditional peace will last only till the money lasts. And therefore, conditional security is not the real security because anytime it can go. And what can go away is not peace, cannot give peace. Similarly, conditional happiness, conditional fulfillment. But the benefit of Vedantic meditation is unconditional peace. So here Uttamam means unconditional, Nirapeksha peace. Peace just flows. There is no condition. If you ask a Jnani, how are you so peaceful? His answer will be, you know what? He said, because that is my nature. It's like you ask fire, why are you hot? What will the fire say? Fire will say, that is my nature. If you ask the water, why you are not hot? It will say, either that is my nature, coolness is my nature, or it will say, because I am in contact with fire, I am hot. And it will last as long as I am in contact with fire. Well, the natural condition of water is not hot. Therefore, water becoming hot is because of the condition that it is in contact with fire. It is fake hotness and therefore will not last long also. But the fire is hot unconditionally and therefore permanently hot. And similarly, I am peaceful unconditionally and therefore I am permanently peaceful. Peacefully rich, peacefully poor, peacefully with house, peacefully without house, peacefully with people, peacefully without people, peacefully young, peacefully old, peacefully black haired, peacefully white haired, peacefully without hair. So all this is Uttamam Sukham Upaiti. That is the phalam. So this Jnani enjoys the highest Ananda, contentment, Purnatvam. So it is not an ordinary Sukham born out of an external changing, unpredictable factor, but it is an Ananda born out of the knowledge that I am Purna. And when he uses the word I, you should know the meaning of the word. He is not referring to the physical I. He is not referring to the emotional I, not even to the intellectual I, but I, the Atma, am Purna. That is what he is referring to. So, Uttamam Sukham Upaiti. So, this is the Jnani's situation. What type of Jnani? He is not the one who has done only Shravanam Mananam alone, but a Jnani who has struggled and used Vedantic knowledge to look into every aspect of his life. This is the most important result of this entire Vedanta study. Otherwise, you can study for 20 years, 25 years, go through all Upanishads with commentary, with tika, everything. If it has not made an iota of change to your way of thinking, your behavior, your lifestyle, what is the purpose? You have lost 20, 25 years of your life for nothing. Isn't it? So the whole purpose of Vedanta study is to help you to look into every aspect of your life and set right wherever things you feel that they are not in tune with the Vedanta teaching. It is just like, Swami Paramathananda ji gives this example. If you want to change a raga in Carnatic music, you have to go to the swaras which go to make the raga. You cannot change the raga without changing the swara. Similarly, suppose I want to change the shape of a hall, I will have to take every brick and rearrange it, isn't it? Similarly, if my life has to change, every thought in my mind has to change. My life consists only of a series of thoughts. Sorrow is a thought, jealousy is a thought, frustration is a thought. So how you define your life is by purely joining the bundle of thoughts that you entertain every moment, right from the morning when you miss the coffee. When you miss the coffee, how you respond will determine how much Vedanta has gone into you. So for every situation, we respond by a thought, and that is our life. One thought is not our life, mind you, but our life is all the thoughts put together. So like I said, if you want to change the shape of the hall, the bricks have to be rearranged. If you want to change your life, your very thought process has to change. And this is a time-consuming process. And this Jnani has done that. So time is required, effort is required. And that is why I say Vedanta is it's not a 100-meter or 200-meter race. It is a marathon. Keep running, keep running. And that is why you have to keep measuring also the progress that you are making. Every day, increase your awareness of your thought process. Evaluate your own thought process, and where you find it is not in tune with Vedanta, try to change that. It's all possible. I mean, people have done this. Jnani is doing it. This Jnani has done. It is possible. And that is why, we can ourselves measure the spiritual progress that we are making. Our goal is clear. Moksha as our goal is clear. And what does moksha means? Unconditional, eternal peace of mind. You can achieve it. So you can do the sadhanas required for it. You can observe, keep observing the mind. You can make course corrections. And you can track your improvements also. And therefore, Krishna describes that jnani as prashanta manasam, the one whose mind is free from unhealthy thought process in the form of anxiety, fear, jealousy, etc. Every unhealthy thought he has consciously and deliberately handled and managed. And therefore, it is not that he is not thoughtless, but he has made his thoughts as undisturbing thoughts. His thoughts do not disturb the mind. In fact, for 1 hour, you are listening to my talk, during which your mind has to entertain thoughts. Each word I am uttering, I am presenting an idea to you, and that idea is generated in your mind in the form of thought alone. So is this thought a burden to you? If it is a burden, you would not come here. If sitting and listening for 1 hour is burdensome. So you must understand, thought does not cause samsara. You need not eliminate any thought. When you replace the burdening thoughts by thoughts which are not a burden, that is called shanta vritti. And they are called sattvika vritti. Sattvika vritti means they are light on your mind. They sit light on in your mind. They are not burden to you. And such a mind Jnani enjoys. Mind is a burden for a person who does not have peace of mind. Ashantasya manobharaha, it is said. If there is no peace of mind, everything will be a bharam, a burden. If peace is there, mind is light and a wonderful instrument with which I can study, I can love people, I can help people. Therefore, gaining peace of mind is your choice. And a jnani enjoys that type of mind, prashanta manasa. And then he says, shanta rajasam. How did he enjoy, or how does he enjoy such a mind? By removing rajasic vritti. What is a rajasic vritti? Disturbing thoughts, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Learn to accept the world as it is. Learn to accept the people around you as they are. Don't try to change the world. Understand that people cannot be changed unless they themselves want to change. Stop comparing yourself or your children or your spouse with others. Accept them as they are. It is when acceptance is lacking that we try to change the world and also the people to suit our own raga dvesha. And when that happens, the mind becomes a victim of disturbing thoughts. Ashanta rajasam it becomes. disturbing, burdensome thoughts. So a jnani has successfully overcome this issue and therefore he is Shanta Rajasam. Nothing, no thought disturbs his mind. Then Akalmasham. Kalmasha means Tamasa Vritti. So Akalmasha means Tamasa Vrittis are also subsided. Now what are Tamasa Vrittis? Tamasa Vrittis are Moha Vrittis. Moha, delusion. Vidyaranya Swami in Panchadasi says, Sattvika Vritti is called Shanta Vritti. Rajasa Vritti is called Ghora Vritti. Tamasa Vritti is called Mudha Vritti. Mudha means full of delusion and confusion. So for a jnani, they are also not there. Therefore, akalmasham. So neither rajasam is prominent or predominant in the mind, nor tamasam is predominant. Only sattvika predominant mind he has got. And this sattvika mind is indicated by prashanta manasam. And such a jnani who is now a yogi. Yogi here means meditator. And that is why, again I say Nididhyasanam is compulsory after Shravanam and Mananam. You should remember this rediscovery, this reorientation is to be done compulsorily. Because life has its own problems which we cannot wish away. We cannot afford to ignore them or forget them or run away from them or push them under the carpet. They all have to be dealt with. By not dealing with the problems, which is what you have been doing all along, what you are doing is you are pushing them into your deep subconscious mind. And whenever time comes, ideal time comes, they will all surface and torment you. Therefore, I should see into my past and my future with the torchlight of Vedanta. And that is why Nididhyasanam is compulsory. And as I said earlier, all these, recommendations of Krishna's about posture and all that, they are not important. But of course, if you feel comfortable in them, you can do it. But they are not compulsory. What we are interested is in meditation. We are interested in running through our learning again and again in order to get rid of our past habits and the orientation and discover and abide in a new identity. What is important is revising our perspective, and that is meditation. So the transformation of our very thinking process is meditation. And such a person is called a yogi here, Nididhyasaka. And what is the culmination of this process? Krishna says, Brahma Bhutam, who has become one with Brahman. He has stopped identifying Brahman as something different from him. When we say he has become one with Brahman, one should not imagine that Brahman was sitting in front somewhere and through a process of meditation, you slowly dissolve and finally merge with Brahman. In films and all, they will show, two things just coming and then merging. You should not think like that. Brahma Bhuta means instead of identifying with Anatma, he has learned to own up the Atma Swarupam. Instead of claiming the body as I, instead of claiming the mind as I, he looks upon them as instruments of transactions. I am the Chaitanyam behind these instruments. So this shifting of the first person singular is called Brahma Bhava. and therefore Brahma Bhutam. And what is the benefit of this meditation? He says, Uttamam Sukham Upaiti. And in the next sloka, Krishna presents the same idea in a different way. You will read the sloka. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashah sukhena brahmas samsparsham atyantam sukhamashnute. Same idea, but differently put. The Anvaya of this sloka is Evam Sada Yunjan Atmanam Vigata Kalmasha Yogi Sukhena Ashnute Atyantam Sukham Brahma Samsparsham. Evam, thus, Sada Yunjan, constantly engaging Atmanam, the mind, in meditation. Vigata Kalmasha Yogi, the purified yogi. Sukhena Ashnute, effortlessly attains Atyantam Sukham, limitless Ananda, Brahma Samsparsham, which belongs to Brahman. So thus constantly engaging the mind in meditation, the purified yogi effortlessly attains limitless Ananda, which belongs to Brahman. So as I said, the same idea is presented in a different way. Atyantam Sukham Ashnute. In the previous sloka, it was said Uttamam Sukham Upaiti. Same idea here, he says Atyantam. Instead of Uttamam, he uses Atyantam. Ashnute, he uses instead of Upaiti. So this yogi, the Vigata Kalmasha yogi, gets infinite Ananda, Shanti, contentment, Purnatvam. All this he attains. This yogi. And this is this Shanti, this Atyantam Sukham is the Jnana Phalam. What did the meditation do? Did meditation give him the Jnana Phalam? Meditation did not even produce the Shanti. Jnanam has to automatically produce Shanti. Because Jnanam belongs to the knowledge. Meditation, we have only repeatedly replayed all the teachings. The Jnanam that we gained, we have replayed it. But what was happening? Our ways of thinking was an obstacle, and through meditation, we removed that obstacle. And when that happened, Jnanam naturally gave Shanti. Like what? Like the example is opening of a tap. When I open the tap, I am not doing anything to bring down the water. Water coming down is not the result of my effort. It is the result of Bhagavan's law, the law of gravitation. But there should be water in the overhead tank. If water is there in the tank, when I open the tap, it should come in the tap. You need not even do any prayers, offer any prayers, etc. But if you find the water did not come in my house tap, even though water is there on the overhead tank, that means there is an obstruction, probably in the form of a closed tap. So opening the tap is not bringing down the water. Opening the tap is a removal of the obstacle for natural flow. Similarly, Jnanam means Shanti. Peace is already there. Jnanam has to flow down in the form of Shanti alone. But this Shanti flow, if it does not come, that means there is some obstacle, probably in the form of a closed tap. And what is the nature of this closure? Our habitual ways of thinking. Oh, that fellow, he abused me. I should not leave him. I will wait for an opportunity to abuse him back. That is our habitual way of thinking. somebody abuses, anger arises in my mind. All Rajasa vrittis. So by Nididhyasanam, this habitual thinking we eliminate. I don't produce Shanti, the natural Shanti, which is the consequence of Jnanam, which just flows. When I say flows, does not mean, do not think that it will gush down from somewhere and it will flow through eyes, etc. Flow is only a figurative expression. I seem to discover more and more Shanti. I seem to discover more and more peace. We'll continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnatya Purnamadhaya Purna Vasishyat. Om Shanti Shanti Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Namaste, Guruji.
Guruji.
Thank you,
Namaste, Pranam.
Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Yes, Girish ji, what is your question? Your hands are up.
Yeah,
Hari Om.
actually, we have learned that karma is the factor for our present life experience. What we have done in the past, actually, it is resulting and we are experiencing that. Okay, now we are also telling actually the meditation, particularly when we, at the time of the death, actually, whatever we have meditated, there are chances for us to be that in our next Janma. Is this, how do you actually correlate both?
See, first of all, we have to understand that what does karma do? Karma here means the punya papa, right?
Okay.
Nice chanting. He has immediately started meditation. Looks like. Okay. So first of all, we have to understand what exactly this punya papa do. Punya papa don't give us experiences in our life.
Okay.
Punya papa present us with certain circumstances, which if we do not appropriately respond to those circumstances, they will result in our experiences, happy experiences or unhappy experiences.
Okay.
So we must understand these are all very subtle points. Generally, people say, oh, karma is responsible for this. Karma is responsible for producing a situation.
Okay.
Suppose there is a karma, there is a papa karma which produces a situation for some let us say, unfortunate thing to happen. Now, when that unfortunate thing happens, what happens? Our mind gets disturbed.
Sure.
Then we say, oh, karma is responsible for this. My past karmas are responsible for this. Correct?
It's normally, this is the way we...
That is the way we think.
Yeah.
But our mind getting disturbed because of that unfortunate incident is in our control. The very first defense is for us not to get disturbed is accept, okay, even if you say the karma is responsible for us, which I have because of my previous janma, that itself will give you relief. I am not
Agree.
responsible.
Agree.
I am in this janma responsible. The other thing is, unfortunate circumstances are presented to me by my karmas. But I have got a willpower
Free
to
will.
deal with that circumstance so that it does not cause any ripple in my mind. It does not cause me any consternation. So this is one aspect we must very clearly understand what karma does. Now coming to the second point, which is what you said. Suppose we do meditation in this life. I said that what you meditate upon, you become that. Correct?
Correct. Correct.
That is true. But that kind of meditation is it should be real meditation, real nididhyasa. And that is why it is said, if you meditate on Brahman, you will become Brahman.
Okay.
So meditate on your real nature. When you meditate, when you keep on saying, Aham Asanga hai, Aham Purna hai, when you go on meditating on that, eventually you will become Asanga hai, Purna hai, everything, Nirvikara hai, Nirakara hai, everything you will become.
Okay.
So that is the process why meditation is there, why meditation is prescribed, because that internalizing, pushing all this, I would put not pushing, the replacing you what is right now there in your subconscious with this different set of identity and its characteristics is what meditation achieves.
Okay, so that will also produce the result of our old karma, null and void.
That is all. I mean, null and void has become when you become a jnani.
Oh, okay.
Once meditation is completed, once you have actually become a jnani, you have gained the jnanam, and you abide in that jnanam, as we have seen earlier, all the karmas are asmasa murute. In fact, Krishna himself will tell later, those karmas are all completely gone.
Okay.
And that is why, sanchita karma is gone. Agami karma of this janma, which we have actually accumulated before jnanam, also goes. Then you are left with two things. Prarabdha karma, that will not go. That will continue till it has to completely, it's a tenor, right?
Yes.
Then what about the agami karma after jnanam? After jnanam, there is no agami karma because the jnani becomes, he understands he is akarta, bhokta. He is a non-doer, so there is no punya papa accrues to him.
Okay.
After jnanam, nothing accrues. So, sanchita gone, agami gone, prarabdham also will go when the body falls. There is no karma, account is zero, so no rebirth. That is what we call, all figuratively merging with Brahman and this, that and all. Because the samsara, there are three aspects of samsara we must understand. Intellectual samsara, which is ignorance. Emotional samsara, which is all our emotional, upheavals. And then punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam is also samsara. So like that, by jnanam, he has dealt with intellectual samsara and emotional samsara.
Okay.
After his death, when he becomes videha, he deals with this third kind of samsara, which is punarapi jananam. He has no rebirth.
Well, sir.
There is nothing, no karma for him to take a birth. So the question of his next birth karma coming doesn't arise because everything is gone. That is the whole scheme which our scriptures present to the human beings. This is what you should do, Baba, and totally become free. Why being born again and again, suffer all these things? That's what is
yes. But adopting is only we know the knowledge. Knowledge is there.
Correct.
But unfortunately,
practically, knowledge is there, free will is there. Isn't it? Our human birth is there. Only in human birth you can gain this knowledge. I mean, we cannot have dogs and cats and tigers in the class, isn't it? We can have. So this human birth is a very rare event. So Shastra says, You have got this human birth, my dear, because of a very rare combination of punya papa in your karma,
Yeah.
because of which you got the human birth. Use that to get out of this.
Okay.
Karma is a jail. You must use everything possible in this human birth to get out of that jail.
Okay.
That is what the scriptures tell us. So we have to take it, understand, do whatever we can do.
Correct. Very well explained. Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om, thank you. Any other question? No hands are going up. So I guess I can close the class, close the session and continue next week. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Good.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om. Good night.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you.